IRS, Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. We may be able to significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe to the IRS. Taxpayers should know. Huge savings are now being made available through the Fresh Start program that can drastically reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. Even if you haven't filed your taxes in years or are facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or under audit, we can help. We've earned over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today. To see what savings you may qualify for, visit us online at tra.com or call us at 800-511-0379, 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Good morning. Man, I'm on fire today. Did you watch, I don't know if you were paying attention throughout the day to the Fauci hearing, the Q&A, the follow-up now, so I'll get to that. Because we cannot let this go. You know, we have to put it on the list as far as thinking about this administration, but also Fauci. What did he know? When did he know it? What was his alleged involvement as far as this illegal activity? How much did he know? And did he help fund this and then try to cover it up? Because he knew that this was going to be a problem. We're going to get into Fauci. We will talk about Hunter Biden, and that's a local story, technically, Wilmington, Delaware. To me, I think that this is convenient, for the Bidens to say, well, see equal treatment. So the persecution of Trump, you see that now there's a prosecution of Hunter. I will just say this, that no, I don't want Hunter Biden to go to jail over addiction, but this is the least of issues that Hunter Biden is allegedly involved with. We have the bigger story really is, first of all, the IRS issue. That's a federal court. That'll take place in California. He still faces that trial because he's facing charges in that one. And let us not forget the timeline. So I do want to give the timeline real quick here, just to refresh your memory a little bit about Hunter Biden. And remember, he's facing felony charges. This is in a federal court. And because it's federal court, we always talk about this, you don't get any gain time, right? Because it's a federal court. It's a federal situation. And so in this one, it's a jury trial. It's going down in where? Delaware. Now, I don't know if you know about Delaware. I love Delaware, by the way. The Delaware way, the people, I do. I love Delaware. We love going to events in Delaware. And my husband had hosted a show called The Delaware Way for many years, TV show, and I was a co-host on that. And so I can tell you the good news about Delaware is if you want to get something done, right, it's everybody knows everybody. You can get it done, especially if you're working with the elected officials there. And so that's a good piece of it, that they can put through, say, meaningful legislation that helps out people, that sort of thing. They can get things done that in other places there's such bureaucracy and all of that, you wouldn't get it done that quickly. On the other hand, everybody knows everybody, and everybody knows the Bidens and the power of the Bidens. So make no mistake that is that entourage yesterday, and again today, they had tents. They had tents literally put up, these big white tents, and the entourage and Hunter Biden, everybody arriving this morning again. But yesterday, to have the First Lady of the United States of America and to have Mrs. Joe Biden, the president's wife, as she's there, and not in an inconspicuous way. Right? She's dressed in this gorgeous, sort of bright purple suit and comes in, and everybody notices all the Bidens. The Bidens are there. And that's, that could be interpreted in many ways. Yes, his family's supporting him, but also there's a little bit, the big guy is watching you. Is it a little bit of an intimidation if you're that juror? I don't know. Do you have a local business? Where do you work? What do you do? So we want to talk about that timeline. We also have on Capitol Hill, and this is all coming down right now, as on Capitol Hill, we do have President Joe Biden, as he has just signed this executive order to do something that's very Trump-like to try to control the border crisis. I think he's trying to mitigate the poll numbers, if you will, because Joe Biden's numbers keep falling. Part of the reason that Joe Biden is doing so poorly in the polls, and especially in the African-American community, and especially in blue areas like New York, like Philadelphia and across the country, is that who do you think the immigration border crisis hurts the most? Minority communities. And so this is a huge issue. And Biden has come to realize it. So now he's signing this executive order to try to reel this situation in and make it look like, oh, no, I'm doing everything I can. Well, if you could sign this executive order today, please share, President Joe Biden. Why could you not have just signed this last year or the year before? I mean, we have floods of people coming in. Estimates of, at the very least, 11 million during the Biden administration. Some estimates are going up to as much as 20 million. But we know that right now, what did they say the latest? 3,500 people coming into this country from more than 120 plus countries around the world. And many of them, we know that even the Venezuelan government, I mean, just yesterday we had the officer in New York shot. Eric Adams, by the way, the mayor holding up that bulletproof vest, showing where the bullet, thank God, was intercepted by the vest. But it was an emotional news conference with New York's mayor, former cop, and it was a good news conference as he said, this vest, this is the reason we have an officer going home to his family tonight. And that was the shooter, the accused gunman under arrest, allegedly, somebody who came to this country illegal and allegedly is a criminal from Venezuela. Even the country of Venezuela, we know that they've said, our crime rate has gone down more than 20%. Why? They're sending all the criminals here, reportedly opening up all the prisons. So we have that going on. You know what, Jimmy Kelly, I know you're at the board right now. Can we take one of my favorites? Louisiana Senator John Kennedy is speaking right now. Let's take this, if we can, from the feed as obviously the GOP is blasting Biden. Listen in.
Has been clearly marked pull. He's mismanaged Congress, COVID, the national debt, the economy, inflation, crime, Afghanistan, Iran, the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine, and now, of course, the border. And every time, I think the president has hit rock bottom. He has managed to find a shovel and continue to dig. Hence, this executive order. And I think that's what the American people see. The first question I would ask President Biden is this. It's a little late, isn't it, Mr. President? It's a little late. You can't make this cat walk backwards. The president's border policies have allowed 8 million people to come into our country illegally. If you try to come into our country today illegally, you are a sucker. You are a sucker. All you have to do is present yourself at the southern border. Now, for 3 years, President Biden told us all, there is no crisis at the southern border, for reasons clearly stated on the teleprompter. And his plan to deal with the crisis at the border was to pretend that there wasn't a crisis at the border. Some of you reported that. Some of you didn't. Well, when the American people figured it out, because they may be poorer under President Biden, but they're not stupid, the Biden administration shifted its strategy. It then said, well, we know there's a crisis at the border, but we don't have any authority to fix it. That didn't work either, because the American people aren't cell deep stupid. So now he has decided to tell you that he has been born.
Okay, so as this goes on.
So this is, we just pulled up Fox there, but you're hearing senators, GOP senators. I know that Lindsey Graham was speaking before him, but Senator, obviously John Kennedy, putting this best, I think, as he's saying, a little late, don't you think? So President Joe Biden invoking a section of the Immigration and Nationality Act, granting him the authority to restrict immigration and prevent non-immigrant visitors. So I guess now they're visitors or newcomers, to prevent non-immigrant visitors from entering the U.S. to protect the country's interests. And so what they do is they restrict the number of unauthorized crossings after, I believe the number is 2,000, their threshold, I believe the number is 2,500. So we still have, the latest number I saw was about 3,500. Remember, those are the ones we know about, 3,500. So now they will restrict it to just 2,500, 2,500. That was the number that I had as far as Biden signing this executive order. But to Senator Kennedy's question there, why now? What's different now other than your low poll numbers? Because you realize that, in fact, this has become an issue. And so now he'll try to own this and say, well, I did what I could, when I could, as soon as I could, but that's a lie. It's disingenuous, and you're being played, and we're all being played. I think that perhaps they knew the number they needed. They knew that we had all of this population loss, especially in blue areas. Think about Philadelphia. Think about what's happening. Think about New York City. Think about Chicago, Los Angeles. What has happened in our cities? People left the cities, especially amid the pandemic, right? And so you have, what does that mean? School funding. So now, because our public schools here in Philadelphia, we lost at least 25,000 students, I believe, in our public schools off the top of my head. But we had huge population shifts as many people, because of the pandemic, because of the shutdowns and all the hurting and all the pain, and children banned from classrooms, especially in cities like Philadelphia, strictest in the nation. And so people left. So how do they replenish these blue areas? Because all the Democrats are doing is thinking, ruh-roh, we have all this population loss, and the next census, then we'll have less blue representation. So how do we replenish that? Well, open up the border. Here, come on in, folks. Everybody just come in. And come in. They know they're going to come into areas like Philadelphia, New York, the blue areas, and they therefore will replenish the new Dem voters and keep these areas blue and keep the control. And I will point out to you, just because we're still in the shadow of the Fauci testifying yesterday, which I'm still not over, and we'll talk about it. But think about the fact that we were all locked down. It was ridiculous. We now know there was no science behind these lockdowns. There was no science to children being banned from classrooms for multiple school years. Remember, because here in Philadelphia, and I don't have to say it, you know it, even when they said, oh, we're going to go virtual, kids didn't have Wi-Fi. They didn't have a laptop. They didn't have a computer. It was ridiculous. They were banned from in-person learning for multiple school years, and we now know the result of it. It's a hot mess for kids, and not to mention the mental health crisis that we're in, all because of all of that. But think about letting all of these people, 3,500 a day, people by the millions coming here. We don't know who they are. They're not vetted. Do they come in with their Vax card and their Vax proof? Absolutely not. Are they wearing a mask? Nope. They're just coming on in. So think about the attitude of these Democrats who allow this. They never cared about our safety. They never cared about our health. They had a different motivation. And I'm not just being cynical. It will all come out. You know it, and I know it. And we can never let this go. And you know me, I will never let this go because they hurt my kids. They hurt you. They hurt me. They damaged us. If you're lucky enough to still have your business or your job, we all took a hit. I know for us here, we all took pay cuts, significant pay cuts, and then our raises were frozen. That happened. That was real. And that was just to keep our jobs. But part-time workers were laid off. And then companies closed. And then because of their crime policies, defund the police, all of that. Remember, the courts were closed. Remember that? We've just learned from our mayor, none of in City Hall here, they haven't even been in person working. They come back July. It's crazy. I want to go through the timeline. You'll hear I'll just do a Fauci recap because I know we did a ton of it, but I have some different takes and some details that you need to know about. We'll get into that, updating you on everything that's breaking, developing, and Philadelphia police as well, releasing some good news and a real crackdown on some of these criminals that have been burdening our businesses. Thank you for being here this morning. Dawn Stensland at Dawn Stensland. You can hit me up. We're on YouTube, but as well you can hit me up on social media. I have to take a quick break. Be right back.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. The NBA playoffs have tipped off, but it's not too late to get in on the action on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to use on same-game parlays, championship futures, and a lot more. And no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/Dom. That's FanDuel.com/Dom. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Do you know a veteran in need? After leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
Pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, or back that won't go away? Check out QC Kinetics. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Did you know you can stream Fox News Radio on the free Odyssey app? Just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio to hear the voices you trust. Brian Kilmeade.
Why are we so scared of Iran thinking that we're at war with them?
Guy Benson.
Get the bleep out of here. It's disgusting.
Jimmy Fallon.
Then this administration rolled into town with a checkbook.
Are all on the free Odyssey app. From the news and talk to keep you informed and up to date during election season. Listen to Fox News Radio on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. see why.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. If you drive a car, you want it to last a long time and not cost you lots of money in the long run. You need to get your car serviced at United Tire and Service. I get my car serviced at one of their 10 locations throughout the Delaware Valley. You should too. Right now, get an oil change on any make or model, and they'll do a free summer trip check so you're ready to hit the road. 20-point safety check, brakes, belts, important fluid levels, lights, even the spare tire. To find the location nearest you, go to UnitedTire.com. That's UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Don't walk around with T-shirts and cover-ups at the pool or the beach this summer. Lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. That's nearly twice as fast as weight loss injections and without any of those nasty side effects. Lose weight the natural way, quickly and safely. Locations close by or available worldwide with live online video consultations. Get slimmer before the summer and without any shots. Call 855-5NJ-DIET to lose 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days. Guaranteed. NJDiet.com. Lose the weight for good.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS has raised the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes in recent years. This hits hard if you're behind on your taxes. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. If you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you're in the restaurant, hospitality, or casino business and you're not using a PDQ POS system, it's time to make the switch. PDQ POS will not only save you time, effort, and money, but it's the fastest, easiest, and most reliable POS available. That's why PDQ POS has been the top-rated restaurant management system for over 35 years. Whether you have a single location restaurant or thousands of locations, PDQ can help your business succeed. Visit PDQPOS.com.
Calling on Percy to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
So the Arizona House plans a vote. Lawmakers there, it's called the Secure the Border Act. And this is a resolution that would make it a state crime to cross into Arizona anywhere besides a legal point of entry, but it also includes other provisions aiming to crack down on illicit fentanyl and E-Verify laws. So Republicans expected to pass this legislation along party lines, but the Arizona House lawmakers doing that on the same day that 2 p.m. later today, Joe Biden is signing this executive order a little too late. And so that, you heard Republicans, we took that live as they are blasting Biden for, really doing this. It's disingenuous. It's too late. And now we're left with this problem. We're going to see this for generations. Let me take some of your calls, 855-839-1210. There's so much developing at this hour. But Frank in the Northeast, good morning, Frank.
Good morning to the famous lady from Minnesota. Hey, how you doing, Dawn?
Just went to college. I just went to journalism school there. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you grew up there, too.
No,
okay,
no.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Couple of things. The first thing, I didn't know Jill was going to be, I'm sorry, Dr. Jill. I didn't know she was going to be there. But on Sunday I was saying, I know President Joe, he's going to be there a couple times. I think it's very intimidating for jurors to look over and see the president and Dr. Jill sitting there. You can't stop them coming, but I think it's intimidating. But what can you do about it? And the other thing, Dawn, please, I haven't heard anyone mention this. I believe Donald Trump will get a house arrest. If you're under house arrest, can they stop him from campaigning? You're allowed to go to work. Well, his job is campaigning for president. Those two things, can they stop him from going campaign or house arrest if that's his job? And also, how can you stop the parents from going to court to see their son when it's intimidating being a president and first lady?
Yeah, it's so true. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you. Speaking of Hunter Biden, his federal trial on those federal alleged felony gun charges, it got off to a kind of a rocky start this morning. Opening statements delayed when jurors could not make it to the courthouse on time. So the judge in this case, Mary Ellen Norica, telling prosecutors and lawyers for the first son that the court had received an email from a juror identified as number 16 during Monday's jury selection and who lives in Milford, Delaware, saying that she does not have a car and lives an hour away. And so the judge says she would let the woman out of serving due to hardship, and the vacant spot will likely be filled now by one of the 4 alternates. So, you just made the point. We're just talking about intimidation. And so does this lady, right, she's juror number 16, but she was chosen. The jury selection happened yesterday. She would have seen First Lady Jill Biden in the court, and she certainly knew all about, the president took the day off. He didn't come in the court, but he was right there at the beach house, and there was a definite Biden, presence there, if you will. So, she's claiming that it's a hardship, but is that really wink, wink what's going on? Or did she just feel intimidated once she got home, spoke to her family and thought, oh boy, I don't want to be on this jury. So the proceedings had to be delayed from the scheduled start, which would have been 9:00 this morning, because the four of the other panelists hadn't even arrived yet. They're all late. And so what's going on with this? So the lead defense attorney, who is Abby Lowell, then made some, arguments on some last-minute motions. They're going back and forth. So I'm just curious about this jury and the intimidation level or alleged perceived thereof. But the group is slated to hear opening remarks by prosecutors from the Office of Special Counsel David Weiss, who, yes, was a Trump appointee, who showed up to court this morning. Hunter's team then gets to deliver their opening statements afterwards. So we will keep you abreast of the situation. I've got to take a quick break, got to pay these bills. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. Be right back.
Do you have a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more that you don't need? Well, don't lapse or surrender your policy. You might be sitting on a gold mine. That's right. You may be able to sell all or part of your life insurance policy to Coventry for cash, or a combination of cash and coverage with no future premiums, even a term policy. Call Coventry Direct at 800-411-8300 or visit coventrydirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-411-8300. For over 25 years, we've helped thousands of people sell their policies, and we can probably help you too. Call us today at 800-411-8300 or visit coventrydirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-411-8300. Call now.
Hi everyone, Matt here from Emmons Roofing and Siding. There are a lot of companies out there that say they do roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Some good, some not so good. Be careful of those that say buy two, get two free. Does that really make sense? Think about it. At Emmons, we don't offer gimmicks, just quality products installed by our experienced craftsmen. We do offer 12 months, same as cash financing though. That's not a gimmick. That's because we know how tough it is for some people right now to get these projects done. If you need roofing, siding, or windows and doors, call us for a free estimate today at 856-885-6677 or visit us at callemmons.com.
Join Nick Kale and WPHT in supporting the Bend to the Shore Bike Tour on Sunday, July 21st. Ride 30 miles, 65 miles, or just make a donation to the cause. Visit bendtoshore.org. Sign up with the code NIC1210 to get $25 off the registration fee. That's shore.org. Promo code
provide the knowledge needed to be able to deliver effective strategic solutions tailored for your business. We're proud to be part of the Philadelphia, Delaware, and Southern New Jersey communities. See how we can make a difference for your business at pnc.com/CIB. The PNC Financial Services Group, Inc., all rights reserved.
At Infinity of Westchester, we believe in transparency, fairness, and above all, serving our customers with care. Whether you're looking for a brand new Infinity or a reliable pre-owned vehicle, we have something for everyone. This month, save up to $15,000 on select Infinity models. And that's not all. Every new Infinity purchase comes with 3 years free maintenance. So don't wait. Visit us in-store or online today at infinityofwestchester.com. Philly rides with us.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So right now, the developing story of the hour, as Hunter Biden is in a local, technically, Wilmington, Delaware courtroom, and they're getting underway, despite kind of a bumpy start with what I told you about the juror suddenly saying she had a hardship and had an hour drive and didn't have a car. But we also have Republican House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan and the committee's top Democrat delivering very different opening statements this morning, as, of course, they get to question Merrick Garland about the so-called persecution, prosecution, and weaponization of government and all of that. As we had Jim Jordan talking about President Trump gets charged for allegedly mishandling documents. Joe Biden can mishandle documents, no problem. And welcoming in Merrick Garland, saying, we're glad you're here today because we've got lots of questions. Many Americans believe there's now a double standard in our justice system. And by the way, ranking Democrat Jerry Nadler shooting back against Jordan's assertions, basically claiming that it's a field office for the Trump campaign with Republicans in charge there. But that really tees up this live event happening right now in the wake of the travesty that happened last week in court. That brings up our next guest, which is Zach Smith, who is the senior legal fellow and manager, the Supreme Court and Appellate Advocacy Program, the Ed Meese III Center for Legal and Judicial Studies. And Zach, thank you so much for stopping by the Dawn Show here, especially today. It's really perfect timing when we think about Merrick Garland. I don't expect there will be some major revelation, but I think it is good that at least we the people get to see him being questioned by Congressman Jordan. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Absolutely. First of all, I'll begin with, last week, and I think of, oh my goodness, you wrote, it's a travesty to our republic what happened last week with the historic marking of a former president of the United States of America before a jury in Manhattan, and those guilty counts that came down, 34 guilty counts. Do you think that Trump could have gotten a fair trial outside of Manhattan? Do you think it would have been a different outcome had that trial, maybe they would have done a change of venue? Could it have happened somewhere in Pennsylvania or Ohio or Minnesota in the outskirts thereof, but not Manhattan?
Well, look, I think it's obvious to anyone that Donald Trump was facing a very unfavorable jury pool there in the borough of Manhattan. And typically, if that change of venue had been granted that Donald Trump and his team had initially requested, because it was a New York State prosecution, it could have taken place somewhere else within the state of New York. But certainly there are portions of New York which would have been far less hostile to Donald Trump than Manhattan, where he received only a very, very small percentage of the vote. But look, I think, frankly, it's hard to say whether the outcome would have been different, even with another jury, if this same judge or one who made similar rulings had presided over the case. And I don't think it would come as any surprise that the judge made many problematic rulings throughout the case. There was key evidence that he didn't allow in the testimony of a former federal election commissioner who's going to testify essentially that what Donald Trump was accused of doing didn't constitute a federal campaign finance violation, which was one of the underlying predicate crimes based on this prosecution. The judge let in a lot of very salacious, irrelevant testimony from Stormy Daniels that was designed essentially to dirty up Donald Trump in the minds of the jurors. And then, of course, there were very problematic jury instructions. What the judge told the applicable law is right before they went back to deliberate, there were issues with those jury instructions that the judge gave. And so, frankly, I think Donald Trump and his legal team were fighting an uphill battle from the get-go.
And so I agree with you. I think that justice definitely depends on the judge and the venue. And so when we look now at the appeals process, what do you see as far as the appeal process in the Trump conviction here?
Well, I think since this is a state prosecution, they'll have to go through the New York appellate courts, the normal appeals process. That's typically not a very quick process. It can take many, many months before there's any resolution of the issues. Now, of course, this is not a typical case in any sense of that term. There has been some talk about potentially asking the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene very early. But I think it's important to recognize two things. One, if the Supreme Court were to intervene very, very early in this appellate process, it would be very unusual for them to do so. They typically do not do that. And in fact, they rejected a request from Jack Smith, the federal special prosecutor who is prosecuting Donald Trump in other cases. He asked the Supreme Court to step in early in his prosecutions, and they wouldn't do it. The second thing to keep in mind is that because this was a New York State prosecutor brought by a New York State prosecutor, Alvin Bragg, there in the borough of Manhattan, the New York appellate courts will have the final say on any issues of New York State law or any potential violations of New York criminal procedure. In order for the U.S. Supreme Court to step in, they can only review potential violations of federal law or the federal Constitution. And so Donald Trump may be able to raise, and likely will raise, some federal constitutional violations that occurred during this trial, but those would be the violations that would trigger the U.S. Supreme Court being able to step in and review those actions.
And so right now, I'm sure this will come up as, Attorney General Merrick Garland, as I stated, is testifying before the House Judiciary Committee. It's part of the annual oversight hearing, as you know. But I have no doubt that they'll bring up the prosecution of one Donald J. Trump. And so as far as this goes, what do you see as far as putting Merrick Garland's feet to the fire on this very issue, that in fact one of his top people from DOJ was, left DOJ and then helped out with a state persecution. I always say that because I get in trouble with listeners if I don't say persecution. I'm teasing, but I had likened it to, let's say, Martha McCallan at Fox News is now relegated to anchoring a local news station at a local market rather than a national show, just to take it there. And so why would somebody from DOJ be tasked with Merrick Garland's DOJ, be tasked to go into a state court and help out with the prosecution of a former president who's the leading candidate, obviously, against Joe Biden, and quite frankly, winning in the latest polls?
Yeah, it's very odd and certainly an unusual career move. And I suspect Merrick Garland will be asked about it. But, keep in mind, while Donald Trump and the verdict was handed down, recently in the past, right now, currently ongoing is the federal prosecution of Hunter Biden on federal gun charges. And the only reason Hunter Biden is now facing this federal prosecution for these gun charge violations and will face a federal trial on federal tax charges in Los Angeles in September. The only reason he's facing those trials is because a federal judge rejected the sweetheart plea deal that the Biden Justice Department initially tried to cut Hunter Biden to make this stuff go away. If the judge hadn't rejected that plea deal as being too lenient, having some very serious legal issues in it as well, we would never see these trials moving forward. And so I think those are the types of questions that I hope will come out at today's hearing, and I suspect we will see some of those types of questions being asked.
And so for this, as I zoom out, Zach Smith, Senior Legal Fellow and Manager, Supreme Court and Appellate Advocacy Program, Edwin Meese III, Center for Legal and Judicial Studies, and the Heritage Foundation. I know you write for them and you've written some great pieces. But if I zoom out, Zach Smith, and I say, well, let's look at this. We look at the Justice Department. We look at the so-called weaponization of DOJ. We think of Mark Houck locally, who I had interviewed. So a jury locally here, even though it was a federal court, had essentially exonerated Mark Houck. He told the story of how they had, raided his home and it was intimidation and that sort of thing. And then they had said, well, hey, if you just plead guilty to this lesser thing, this all goes away and it's no big deal. And he said, no, not going to happen. They didn't expect him to fight it. He did. So from cases like that, where it feels like Catholics, Christians, conservatives, there is a feeling in the country that is galvanizing very different groups of individuals. Whether you look at Trump, even Hunter Biden, I would acknowledge, with the addiction and gun buying and that sort of thing allegation. But then at the same point, you see people here in the African-American community and across the country who are saying, oh, now you're feeling our pain. This is what we've been feeling. And then moving that over into maybe an R column where people are now supporting somebody like Donald J. Trump because they say, hey, he can feel my pain.
Well, look, I think what troubles so many people is the apparent double standard and the weaponization of our criminal justice system. I think anyone who fairly looks at the facts surrounding the prosecution there in New York City recognizes that if the defendant's name wasn't Donald Trump, these charges never would have been brought. And that's particularly apparent if you look at Alvin Bragg. His policies on not prosecuting most other misdemeanor offenses that happen in New York, his policy of not prosecuting even violent offenders, of not seeking to hold people pending trial without bail, of seeking very lenient sentences, even for violent offenders. He's part of the rogue prosecutors, so-called progressive prosecutor movement that my colleague and I at Heritage have written so much about. And yet when you compare his policies with how to deal with even violent criminals to the time and resources he expended prosecuting Donald Trump for very questionable charges on a very questionable legal theory, it really stands in stark contrast just how apparent the double standard is in this particular case.
In your professional opinion, does this get overturned in the Ninth Circuit Court, for example, the same one that overturned the Weinstein case in New York? Does it happen prior to the November 5th election?
Well, look, typically the appellate process moves very, very slowly. And so if it were to follow the ordinary course, I would say probably not, probably unlikely. But if things are expedited, there may be an effort to review it very quickly. There is a chance that it could be reviewed before then. But again, that is very, very tough because typically the appellate process takes a bit of time to work through.
I saw that you had also written and testified talking about the Biden border crisis and calling it an unmitigated disaster. Today at 2:00, we have Biden signing this executive order. Just your thoughts on Biden signing this today. I know Republicans are sounding off. I know in Arizona they're doing that vote today to make it, try to say you violated a state law if you cross into Arizona, not at a legal checkpoint. Just your thoughts on everything that's fast moving today, Zach.
Yeah, look, the Biden administration's policy on the border, as you mentioned, has been an unmitigated disaster. Joe Biden and his administration are refusing to do their duty, refusing to enforce our nation's borders. And what's important to recognize is that what happens at the southern border doesn't stay there. Cities like Washington, Philadelphia, Chicago, even suburban and rural communities are feeling the effects when we let in thousands of illegal aliens, when we let in many individuals who have criminal records. Frankly, we don't know if many of these individuals pose a national security threat, and some of them have, in fact, when they've been apprehended, been found to be on the terror watch list, not to mention the scourge of fentanyl and other illegal drugs that are flowing through our southern border. I think it's apparent that Joe Biden has not been doing his job, and that as a result, all of us as Americans are suffering.
Yeah. Just because New Jersey, we have many New Jersey listeners, you had written about the Supreme Court, the highest court in New Jersey, about the fact that police needed the wiretap order to access Facebook activity. I'm fascinated with that case. Can you just highlight that a little bit, the latest on that, and what that means for policing and residents of New Jersey?
Yeah, so look, this is a constant back and forth, right, between giving law enforcement the tools they need to effectively do their jobs while also protecting our civil rights and our civil liberties and our privacy interests as well. And so there's federal constitutional provisions, the Fourth Amendment, which governs what law enforcement can do without a warrant when they need a warrant to search things. There's also state-level constitutional protections as well. And, of course, the state protections can exceed those of the federal Constitution. They can't fall below them, but they can certainly exceed them. And so what we're seeing around the country are states and even the federal government grappling with how to balance those very real needs of giving law enforcement appropriate tools while at the same time protecting all of our civil rights and our civil liberties as well.
Yeah, well put. You know, you're just such a great expert in all of these areas. Do you have any thoughts on yesterday, Anthony Fauci taking the witness, taking an oath and promising to tell the truth? For so many of us, I know for me, looking at the ramifications of his, alleged decisions and alleged cover-up, do you see that going anywhere as far as actual criminal charges and criminality being looked at in a serious way? I know that a lot of people are saying it, and it makes for great television, and lawmakers can pound their fists and all of that. But, I mean, you're a law and order guy. You're looking at justice, and you know the system. Do you see that truly going anywhere as far as in the courts with regards to anybody's feet being put to the fire and charged criminally for anything that happened with regard to the pandemic?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to watch that testimony yesterday from Anthony Fauci. But what I would say is if we're depending on the Biden Justice Department to bring any type of accountability for what happened in the pandemic, we're highly unlikely to get it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Amen. Well, listen, Zach Smith, thank you so much, Zach. We really appreciate your expertise. Hope you come back again, but you do such great work, and I read everything that you write at the Heritage Foundation there and everywhere else. So thanks, Zach. Really appreciate it.
Well, I really appreciate those kind words, and I really appreciate you having me on the show today. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Zach Smith. You can check out his work, and the Heritage Foundation, you know them, they do great work. Heritage.org is where you can look that one up. But, I look at all of this, and you think about everything that's happening. If you want to comment, and I know I touched on a lot of different issues, just wanted to get Zach's take on each and every one of those, as this is his wheelhouse, if you will, and thinking about the Supreme Court, thinking about appellate advocacy programs, and looking at law, order, justice, and how it's all working and evolving. So we're just looking at all of that. 855-839-1210, the number to call. I stay right there. I will take your calls, but I do have to talk about my friends from Piazza right around the corner. So this time of year, I know for my family, we're planning our road trips this summer. Love to take those summer road trips. And maybe you're eyeing that luxury vehicle that you've been thinking about all winter long. Now go get it with a little help from my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles. They're going to help you out. Piazza, they have thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles available right now from some of the most beautiful, powerful, sleek brands on the roads right now. Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, Jaguar, Maserati, BMW, Porsche, and more. Just visit them, PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. Stop by one of their Pennsylvania, Delaware, or New Jersey dealers. PIAZZA, PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, it's Nick. Join me for WPHT's Veteran Spotlight, a program where we shine a spotlight on one outstanding local veteran in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation, celebrating their remarkable commitment to community service and their exceptional service in the military. This Wednesday, June 5th, we honor Dale Weatherall, United States Marine Corps veteran, for his service and his exemplary contribution to the veteran community. Presented by Window Nation. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com.
Imagine outpatient care where all your needs are met in one location. Jefferson Health's Honickman Center is where you'll discover nationally ranked specialty care and more, like patient ambassadors, imaging and lab services, a pharmacy, calming spaces, and valet parking. Designed by patients, for patients. Discover a new level of care, created with you in mind. To schedule an appointment, call 1-800-JEFF-NOW.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale & Company. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, but it's not too late to get in on the action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. Listen to this. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 you can use on same-game parlays, like which player will score the first basket, how many three-pointers a specific player will take, and if a player can score 25 or more points. Live bets, championship futures, and so much more. There's so many options right there in the FanDuel app. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg to get started. FanDuel.com/Greg. There's no better place to get in on all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
There's only one place to get that perfect custom gift for your special someone. Cozy Jewelers' family-owned and operated showroom in Newtown Square. See their 5 C's in person. That's color, cut, clarity, carat, and of course, the Cozy touch. If you have something unique in mind, Cozy will help you customize your piece with all work done in-house, so you always walk away with that unparalleled Cozy quality. For your custom jewelry, stop by Cozy Jewelers in Newtown Square or online at cozyjewelers.com and step up to the 5th C.
With so much uncertainty in the world today, you may find yourself wondering, is now even the right time to retire?
And so many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping get people to, through, and beyond retirement for over 25 years. And each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Out here, in the middle of all these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. And sometimes, that's how it feels when you're going through tough times. Stress builds up, you have trouble sleeping, maybe your mind is racing and you just don't feel like yourself. So what do? We get help. Lots of people are struggling with their mental health. It's more common than you think. The good news is, there are people in our community who are here for us when times are tough. Sometimes, just talking to someone can make all the difference in the world, so we don't feel so alone. One thing you can do is visit loveyourmindtoday.org for simple steps you can take to find the right solution for you. Whether it's hearing stories about what other people are going through, or finding the resources we need to navigate the stresses in our lives. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
As far as the Anthony Fauci case, I do want to get into some of the details. For example, did you know that the FBI was looking into some concerning situations, got a tip, and was investigating this? And so how was it shut down that the FBI was tipped off that maybe, just maybe, somebody was doing some kind of testing in labs that they weren't supposed to be doing? I want to get into that, the timeline of all of this, but let us not forget what Dr. Anthony Fauci, the advisor, America's doctor, who, was the good guy. I will never forget how all of us, we were canceled, we were shut down, we were shadow banned. Remember, we all voted at the time against those restrictions put into place by Governor Tom Wolf. Thank God we have the right to do that here in Pennsylvania. New Jersey, see, they don't have the right to take it to a ballot vote, you see. And so we were able to reel in some of those executive emergency powers of a governor here in Pennsylvania. Thank God for that. And it was a little spanking that we were able to give then Governor Wolf. But it was horrible what they did. And now we all know the distancing, the masking of children, the mandates. It was all a bunch of BS. And Anthony Fauci to sit there with his smug little face. And I checked during COVID, it came out, Forbes or somebody wrote about it back in the day. During the pandemic, like a year and a half, he and his wife more than doubled their net value, their net worth. So how did he do that? He said, I made $100 over for something I came up with 20 years ago. Okay, let's find out. I want accountability. Let's 855-839-1210. Just a real quick call if we can. This is John. Hey, John. Hey, John. Oh, I'm sorry. We had a technical problem. Just couldn't hear you. Real echoey. I'll get into more of this as it's looked into, but you could see Fauci distancing himself from his own assistant, who's been his assistant and worked with him for some 20 years, David Morenz. We'll talk about him moving forward in the days to come and how they're throwing this guy under the bus. I think David Morenz is going to speak. Boy, you know who looks good in all of this? Senator Rand Paul. He was right on the money, right? With everything, calling Fauci out. His instincts were right. It takes a doctor to understand some of this, and there's still so many questions. But remember also this EcoHealth Alliance, that's the nonprofit that we the people, $100 million of our tax dollars went to that nonprofit. Trump shut that down, and that was how the money laundering operation went, right? They funneled it into this nonprofit, and Fauci oversaw all of that. But remember that as far as the CDC director, Redfield, he should have had more power. He was sidelined by Fauci. Watch for all of this and watch for the probe that will continue. We will get the answers, and I hope to God we have accountability. If this were some kind of a company that did this, we would receive damages, and I'm talking about financial dollars. We were damaged as a nation. And I also have to question this looking forward. Was this a situation, we have to take a quick break in just 30 seconds, but was this a situation that was motivated by partisans? Because remember the timeline of all of this. As Fauci, President Trump, I'm your advisor to the White House, right? He's the advisor. He's America's doctor. And he's telling Trump what needs to be done. And at first Trump listens to him, then Trump gets a whiff of this and realizes it as they're ongoing. And so then we saw, remember, Trump didn't want Fauci involved in the news conferences and that sort of thing, because Trump started to wise up to this as he realized this guy is a phony. Trump defunded that EcoHealth Alliance, but then Biden brought it back. And now, just recently, boop, they just stopped the funding to it. You see? So there's some partisanship here. But think about that. Was part of this partisan? I have that question. Was it political? There's so much we need to get into, but I need to stay on time. 855-839-1210. So we have more developing right around the corner. Stay right here. Don't miss a thing.
This is Larry Steiners with Investor Schooling. You may know me from my book, Money Hacks. You may know me from my radio shows, and you may even know me from some of these commercials. But listen, I'm teaching stuff that people need to learn about money. In fact, my favorite topic is money. So go to investorschooling.com and you will learn things about money that you never even knew existed. We will teach you things about real estate, about the stock market, and about how to use your IRAs properly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Water quality continues to be in topic. Ensure your family is drinking clean, pure water with the Kinetico water system from Martin Water Conditioning. The Kinetico system improves all the impurities from your water. What comes out of the tap? Crystal clear, all natural, delicious water. Put the Martin Water Conditioning family's passion for water to work for you. Do what I did. Contact Martin Water Conditioning. Visit martinwater.com. martinwater.com. Be sure to tell them Dom sent you.
Tired of hearing scary ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. We may be able to significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe to the IRS. Taxpayers should know. Huge savings are now being made available through the Fresh Start program that can drastically reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. Even if you haven't filed your taxes in years or are facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or under audit, we can help. We've earned over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today. To see what savings you may qualify for, visit us online at TRA.com or call us at 800-511-0379, 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-329-2121. That's 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Breaking today, right now, in fact, we have Philadelphia police, local law enforcement making some major announcements as they say they've broken up a major theft ring. We talk about this all the time. These theft rings really plaguing our area businesses. And so we'll be bringing you that information momentarily as we think about all the law enforcement levels that often go into trying to crack a ring of thieves. And we knew that they were working in coordination with one another, so we're expecting any moment that we will get more information on that one. And then looking at what's happening here as we think about New Jersey election primary day. Voters headed to the polls 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. this evening. Notably, New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez filing a petition to get on the U.S. Senate ballot in New Jersey as an independent candidate, as today is the deadline, 4 p.m. today. But this is Andy. I know Andy Kim wants to replace Menendez for sure, as Gold Bar Bob, as Menendez has been called, is fighting for his freedom and his career politician, days. He's accused of accepting cash, gold bars, luxury wristwatches, other perks from New Jersey businessmen in exchange for official favors to benefit those businessmen and the governments of Egypt and Qatar. Those are some of the allegations which Menendez says are not true, and that he has a right to defend himself. He has refused to step down. We know that Democrat U.S. Representative Andy Kim wants to become a senator, wants so-called Gold Bar Bob's job, and he's expected to become the Dem nominee, while Curtis Bashaw and Christine Serrano-Glasner are vying for the GOP nod. So we're watching that very carefully. And then 5 Democrats, 4 Republicans running in the 3rd district to replace Andy Kim, the Democrat well-known there. So we also have lawyers right now making their opening statements in the federal gun case against President Joe Biden's son, Hunter, after that jury was seated yesterday. And I reported to you as well that one juror already with a late notification, even though she was seated as a juror, now having second thoughts and saying, I really don't have access to a car. It's an hour ride. Is this one juror who has become intimidated by the big show of the big guy, the Biden family, so powerful in little Delaware, that's so connected. Everybody knows everybody. So we're looking at all of that. Do we have Betsy Brantner Smith? No, we don't. Okay, that's all right. So let's get to it. If we think about everything in that perspective of what's going on, I want to get back to some of the Dr. Anthony Fauci. If we can go to Fauci and what's happening here. So first of all, there was the sound that, do we have this, Henry? Were you able to clean it up? Because there was a curse word in it. I thought it was interesting, the revelation that in Fauci's own biography, this is when he was being interviewed for a book, and at some point you hear the real Dr. Anthony Fauci, right, as he's speaking. And he's talking about the impact of forcing people to get these vaccines. And I think it goes to temperament. It goes to the fact that this little man with his big ego, right? Big ego, narcissist, as he's been called. And he's going to tell you what to do. He has so much power. And what I also think we have to think about, the money that the NIH represents. Big money. They have a ton of power. When you think about Washington bureaucrats and you look at this guy and how much he controlled and the level of power that he had for decades, for 40 plus years of his life, you think about the power that he is accustomed to, the power that he wields, and even now the memos are all coming out through this David Morenz, who he has thrown under the bus. So this guy's talking. And now the House Republicans, who thank God are in charge, have that subpoena power. That's important to remember. If they lose that, we lose the ability to ever fully know what really happened with the background of the pandemic, what led up to this, who knew what when. But let's go to just one, whether you have Fauci testifying or whether you have him, which one do you have? Is it, and we have Henry Machette here today. So which Fauci are we going to hear? The Fauci who's testifying and trying to put on a good face, and he's kind of, he can't hear Henry. What, Henry? I can't hear you.
I'd say this is more a fiery Fauci.
This is fiery
Fauci.
The
Italians coming out of him.
All right, the Italians coming out of him. He's actually Sicilian. Ironically, the name Fauci means that you handle a sickle. That's what the name means. And he cut us down. That's what I feel like. He attacked us, the American people, our jobs, our lives, our kids. But that actually, if you look up what Fauci means, but he's Sicilian. All right, so this is him as he's testifying under oath yesterday, Henry?
Correct.
Okay, let's listen in.
Run the audio clip on that, please.
You think
You said in an interview that you gave as part of an audiobook written by Michael Spector.
Oh, good. This is good.
That you believed an institutional should make it hard for people to live their lives so they'd feel pressured to get vaccinated. Could we run the audio clip on that, please?
you think can be done about it? I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use that term.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological and they get vaccinated.
Thank you.
So that is part of, that was entered into the record. It's important because you hear him, and he had agreed to a recording, and probably some of those when somebody's writing a book about you, I'm sure there were dozens of hours of interviews and that sort of thing. And so that's the real Anthony Fauci. That Anthony Fauci is going to tell you what to do because he is the head of the NIH. And he controls all these, billions of dollars over many years. This is a powerful little Napoleon-like figure, in my humble opinion. And they grilled him yesterday and were holding him accountable for what he knew when he knew it. And I think he has evaded these answers. He has evaded transparency. And as I watched him yesterday, and I rewatched it when I got home, at one point I actually started bawling. I just started crying because it all really hit me. I don't know if this hit you like that. It hit me like a ton of bricks last night. And I was rewatching all of this, and he's just so cocky, so smug, as he's somebody who just oozes of, I'm going to tell you. And it's a reminder, remember this, of what we all went through. We were shamed. I have friends who, especially in different medical fields, we saw, I have a friend who's a nurse, two friends in medical fields who said, no, I'm not going to get the jab. I'm not doing it. I'm worried about my health. She and her son are still never vaccinated. And this is when it was experimental. And she said no. And due to her faith, they would not give her an out. She lost her job. Another friend, the same thing happened. But you think about all the parents who just were concerned. This is experimental. I have young kids. Why? I know that we could go through it, but it's important to remember that that's the guy who was behind this. To now realize that, in fact, there's an alleged cover-up and that he was involved and knew about illegal creation of the very virus that then got loose in the lab, whether you think it was on purpose. I don't think that they did it on purpose. It does not make sense to me. I think it was a horrible, idiotic mistake, which is why you don't want to play with this fire. But then Fauci, and there were memos in one, and I want to get to some of this, but if you look back through all of these memos, and they've been having hearings on this, but there was one in which one of his own assistants, not David Morenz, had basically said, oh my goodness, that was what we were funding. And then they were back and forth with all of these memos. And these are part of the record, the public record. You can look it up. You don't have to believe me. Just look it up for yourself. These are government records, and they're in the file under the House, investigating this. But at one point, they're talking about the fact that the unfortunate and pain in the neck, freedom of information requests and how to avoid those, and saying Anthony's, Tony is too smart. And even David Morenz, one of the people who worked underneath him for decades, saying, well, I'm going to bring this over to Tony in person or that sort of thing. And then the explanations of these assistants saying to the nonprofit that we've talked about, Eco Health Alliance, how they were asking what's going on. Don't worry about it, but we can't, just to protect you. We're protecting you. We're protecting NIH. We're protecting Tony. We're going to stop this back and forth in writing. And so we're going to talk to you in person or bring you something in person. So they were all aware. I mean, it looks very bad. And then remember, Senator Rand Paul, he figured this out years ago. But what he's saying is and this is what is to come and why I believe it's not over. As they continue to investigate, and I think Rand Paul on the Senate side continues to call for action and call for more investigation. But these were lies. This gain of function research that Rand Paul grilled him about, remember that. And then Fauci had them rewrite the definition of the gain of function research and what they could and could not do and what that meant. So I think they have the evidence. They need to go back and get this tangible evidence. But it's horrifying to think that these individuals, because they were essentially covering up their own mistakes, and they knew full well that this was a dangerous virus. They knew full well, allegedly, that it was man-made. And wouldn't it have been nice if they would have just come clean and talked about what they knew? Remember early on, at some point, I had interviewed somebody, the director of a documentary, and they said, isn't it a shame that we knew everything right from the cruise ships? Remember those cruise ships on the West Coast? Remember this? And how they were shut down? And so you had basically a petri dish, if you will, a couple of them, where you had healthy young people, you had families, then you had people with comorbidities, you had elderly folks, you had obese folks. You really had a human petri dish in real time because COVID was aboard the cruise ships, and that's why nobody wanted them, wouldn't take them. They were like out to sea. And if they studied that, they would have known exactly young people got over it. Children were basically asymptomatic. And now we know from the latest studies, 1 in 5 people are walking around there asymptomatic. They literally would test positive with COVID, but show zero symptoms. And for Fauci to put this out there, knowing it was a man-made virus, that's the allegation here, knowing it was man-made, he knew full well that the masks and the distancing and all that was BS, that closing down the schools, that forcing children to get the vaccinations, he knew all of it. He can say whatever he wants. He can say, oh, well, it wasn't my job. It was the CDC. No, he sidelined Redfield. He sidelined him. He took over. He knows it. And he needs to own it. He needs to be made accountable. He damaged our lives, our children, their mental health. He impacted America for generations. But you know what else he did? And my heart, I do believe, that little weasel, I believe in my heart that this was partisan to him. And he knew the pandemic would take a president who is unprecedented in peace and prosperity. And Trump was untouchable. Untouchable. He was going to win by a landslide. You know it. I blame you, Dr. Fauci, for all of the above. You took all of that away from us, but you know what you did? For my kids and the children of America, you damaged my kids. You never should have done that. And we mama bears, we never forget. And until the day I die, I will make sure that you and everybody else with you is made accountable. 855-839-1210. So I don't want anything bad to happen to this man. Ever. Don't threaten him. Protect him. Protect him because he knows all of it. We need to make this man accountable and everybody who knew it. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Dom Giordano.
Representative Matt Gaetz, welcome back to Philadelphia. Question from my producer. I didn't egg it on. You are one of the great congresspeople when it comes to hair.
You know, I have a little bit of the blow dry, a little bit of pomade, and then the secret ingredient is at the end, I sprinkle on Kevin McCarthy's tears. And if you use that at just the right moment, you get the elevation.
It's Dom time. Dom Giordano. Weekdays noon till 3 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
So many financial firms claim to be fiduciaries, but do any of them provide legally binding documentation to put your best interests first? Crash Proof Retirement is the only firm in the nation that records all financial meetings, making your meeting legally binding.
Lou Marinucci, Langhorne, Pennsylvania. When the market goes down and then Wall Street still makes money, they're looking out for themselves more than they're looking out for you as the client. It's not a fiduciary responsibility. I don't have that problem here with Crash Proof Retirement. Crash Proof Retirement can assure their customers that they will come out on the positive side because by recording their meetings, it makes them legally bound to do exactly what they say. And that's what a fiduciary is supposed to do.
Guaranteed, legally binding transparency for your retirement future. Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the William Penn Inn on June 11th. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Get slimmer for this summer without any shots. NJ Diet is nearly twice as fast as weight loss injections and without any of those nasty side effects. You will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days, contractually guaranteed. NJ Diet uses your hair and saliva along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements to get you to shed that fat quickly. Then, NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep the weight off. You are fully monitored the entire time, and you even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Locations close by in Cherry Hill, King of Prussia, Princeton, and Newark, Delaware, or NJ Diet is available from home with live online video consultations. Lose the weight the natural way, quickly and safely. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. Get slimmer for the summer and without any shots. That's njdiet.com to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. Go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good.
There are any number of reasons you might consider selling your home. To move closer to family, live within a smaller budget, or just wanting a change of scenery. Whatever your reasons, having to figure out all the various housing market trends in your area may not be what you signed up for. That's where an agent who is a realtor comes in. Realtors have the expertise to help you find the right price and navigate the process to sell your home in a way that's right for you. That's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Now I'm all fired up. 855-839-1210. I do want to talk a lot about D-Day this week as we think about the 80th commemoration of D-Day and history matters, understanding our history, and understanding the sacrifice made for our freedoms in this country, our freedoms that we were robbed of, quite frankly, during the COVID pandemic with COVID. And so I'm not talking about initially, of course, if everybody's going to get sick and they don't know what this is, even though it sounds like Fauci had a clue. But moving forward, this went on years. And you think about even individuals now using the masking as by criminals. We've seen that. We saw that. We see it pretty much every other day or every day. I come back on Monday from the weekend and we talk about these masked individuals who are wearing a hoodie and a medical mask or some kind of a mask. And so we now know that masks don't work. We have the confirmation, right? So let's get rid of them. We can all agree that they are useless. We have all these medical masks. My husband ordered them online or whatever. You know what they're great for, though? They're great for dusting. Put a little the orange oil on them and dust. They're good for dusting and cleaning up spills and whatnot. So Henry Meshette, you wanted to go to a little more Fauci. So maybe we'll go to, maybe moving forward, we can play those Fauci clips or at least allow his reaction to some of that, just so you can feel reminded of the Fauci and what a little weasel he is. I remember being on the air and early on, Rich Zeoli joking about, pangolin and that his spidey senses were just going crazy and that it just started to feel like there was something else going on here. Do you remember this? And Zeoli talking about this. And I remember texting Zeoli at the time, and I wish I could find the text and the date, but saying to him, I feel like I'm captured in some Scooby-Doo episode where they, unmask Old Man Withers and say, it wasn't the ghost, it was Old Man Withers the whole time. It was because he was greedy and he just didn't want the old haunted house to be, sold for development or whatever. And I texted him that about a Scooby-Doo reference. And I think of that now as far as the people who early on had these strange spidey senses, thinking about what was going on. And you did. I know that when Zeoli said it, I started saying, yeah, this doesn't seem right. This is weird. This makes no sense, especially with Fauci the flip-flopper. Remember that? Oh, the mask is useless. Well, now all of a sudden you got a mask. Then you got to wear the double mask. You think of all the marriages, all the people who became alcoholics, the people who became addicts or were fighting addiction. They couldn't go to their group meetings. They couldn't work out. Just go through all of it. People who didn't go to their regularly scheduled doctor's appointments. We have all the cancer cases on the rise. Think about all of that. No, we need accountability here, and we need a call for accountability for sure. Do we have one more Fauci clip? We'll play one more, and then I promise you I will move on.
Yeah, I mean, this clip is the continuation of his response to that audio clip from the audiobook. So if you wanted to restart that, start at the audiobook and then just go forward.
Okay.
All right.
You think can be done about it? I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use that term.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological
BS.
and they get vaccinated.
Thank you. Are all objections to COVID vaccinations ideological, Dr. Fauci?
No, they're not, and
Thank
that's
you.
not what I was referring to.
Well, in reference to making it hard for people to get education, traveling, working, I'd say it very much was in context. And I take great offense to this. Miss
And we all
Allison
do.
Williams testified before this committee about losing her job because
That's right.
she sought an exemption.
And he goes
for
on
ESPN.
talking about people seeking exemptions. You and I have friends, maybe you personally had that happen to you. But I just want to bring you back to the April of 2020. So 4 years ago, remember this. The FBI was tipped off back in April of 2020 to gain-of-function virus research in China funded by the agency formerly headed by Dr. Anthony Fauci that would, quote, leave no signature of purposeful human manipulation. So that is what the emails from the agents at the Bureau reportedly show. At least one FBI agent, and this is all coming out of all of these committees, all of these investigations, at least one FBI agent at the Bureau's Newark field office referring to this revelation as alarming. Think about this, 4 years ago. Another agent called the tip interesting and vowed to follow up with others at the FBI. So now there are 5 pages of emails printed out, obtained by Judicial Watch, and this all was via a Freedom of Information Act request. And they're calling them smoking gun documents, showing the FBI quickly understood that Fauci and his agency funded that gain of function research that could disguise the resulting coronavirus as natural. And that's why earlier this morning on Kale and Company, because I don't think we aired this clip on Kale and Company earlier, he was talking about that. Well, I don't think, what? I can't hear you. Oh, I don't think you can discern whether it was natural or whether it was actually created in a lab. See, he knows he's totally being, in my humble opinion, being disingenuous there. He knows full well that you can't prove it, you see. But they're saying that these documents demonstrate the need for a comprehensive criminal probe into Fauci's gain of function scandal. But these email exchanges, and these are among FBI agents, these are very telling, okay? And they are redacted to protect the whistleblowers and all of that. But this is coming out of New Jersey's, at least one New Jersey FBI field office, and this is in relation to the National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases, $661,000 in grants to, and that was just one grant, to EcoHealth Alliance that I've referred to, and it was specifically for bat coronavirus research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, okay? And so they have all these emails. They have all of these issues. We must remain diligent on this. We cannot let this go. We cannot be distracted because this is a huge story. And then think about the tie. You know, there's so many ties that I want to do the timeline, but I'm up against a tough break. So quick break. Be right back.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Another very warm day today with a mixture of sunshine and clouds. High temperature up around 87. For tonight, partly cloudy and mild. Low 66 for the city, cooler out in the suburbs. And for Wednesday, becoming mostly cloudy with some late day showers and storms. High 84.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Introducing the Honickman Center at Jefferson Health. Outpatient care designed by patients like you. Together, we're shaping the future of medicine, where advanced technology and comprehensive services ensure convenience and accessibility for all patients. Everything you need to simplify the complexity of care is available in one location. Uncompromising care delivered by world-class physicians. To schedule an appointment, call 1-800-JEFF-NOW.
I'm on the air. If you cannot pick up David, leave him there. He can take an Uber.
Do you have a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more that you don't need? Well, don't lapse or surrender your policy. You might be sitting on a gold mine. That's right. You may be able to sell all or part of your life insurance policy to Coventry for cash, or a combination of cash and coverage with no future premiums, even a term policy. Call Coventry Direct at 800-411-8300 or visit coventrydirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-411-8300. For over 25 years, we've helped thousands of people sell their policies, and we can probably help you too. Call us today at 800-411-8300 or visit coventrydirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-411-8300. Call now.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head, and just over $30,000. That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask like 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. Optima Tax Relief. They're the best in the business.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
For details, visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you're tired of your old kitchen or bathroom, you need to give our friends at Kitchen Magic a call. Yeah, Kitchen Magic offers no shortage of solutions for any room in your home. And with a new vanity and a tub shower conversion, you're going to love that new bathroom. Plus, Kitchen Magic offers an industry-leading warranty. They are a 10-year recipient of the Lehigh Valley's top workplaces. Yeah, they're local too, local employer. And right now, my friends at Kitchen Magic are offering 12 months, no payments, no interest financing, plus 10% off your remodel. So get your free in-home consultation today. KitchenMagic.com. KitchenMagic.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. As the store's owner, I want our clients treated with respect. I want our employees to have extensive product knowledge and be genuinely engaged with our clients. Our pricing is competitive, but our client attention is second to none. When considering a new car, consider Cherry Hill Volvo. Contact me directly. Relationships really do matter to us.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navien's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Free speech lives here with Dawn Stensland weekdays 10 till noon. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
We are fired up over Fauci, and we're not going to let this go. Well, in a moment I will, because we have other news of the day. But just one of my friends actually just texting me. I won't say her name, but, just her back and forth with friends, with family, talking about my phone has blown up, actually, with people saying how they lost family, friends, patients for telling the truth, kicked off social media more times than, you could count. And one person writing, I hope Fauci, quote, rots in the fires of hell and jail. He was a scam his whole life. If you knew what he did during AIDS, you would know that hell is even too good for him. That's just one of many. I know my doctor during COVID had prescribed me vitamin D and just quietly said, I think you're probably a little low in vitamin D. Well, I think my doctor knew that, what the reports were coming out, that vitamin D is, first of all, we probably, all of us need more vitamin D. But there's so much that we need to fully understand that went on, because in truth, not just to have justice, but I think we also need to understand, who did this, have accountability, but make sure it never happens again, you see. And so we need to go back and look at all of this and understand the NIH, first of all, it's way too powerful. And the bureaucrats, these powerful bureaucrats, they're not elected, and they get to decide where all of this money goes. Hundreds of millions of dollars, billions for the NIH over the years. You see, these are powerful bureaucrats. And so we need to split that up, break that up. We really do. Because one person should not be able to have that much power and they're not, we have a republic here. We're a democratic republic. These individuals should not wield this much power and decide where all this money gets to go. It's not right. 855-839-1210 as we welcome in Charlie. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, how you doing?
Good,
yeah,
thanks
you brought up about Fauci and all that, and I think it's exactly why they can't have Trump get in there. They don't have to kill him if they have to. Just like Epstein, they can't let him start digging around and like all these names come up, because there's probably like half of our government's involved in all these scams. You know what I mean? Like even in Ukraine, where all's that money going? Nobody's accounting for it. Nobody knows. And they said, oh, we can't keep track of that. It's too much money. I mean, is that a ridiculous thing or what?
It is.
But I really get mad when I think about all these older people in my parish that I run into some of them down the park. Oh, well, we stopped going when the church said you couldn't come here because of COVID, and we started watching Mass on TV and all. Well, now the church is trying to get them back. They're not coming back. You know what I mean? Their habits are changed. They're not getting them going out anymore. They'll turn on TV and watch it. Yeah, and it's really a sad thing. You know what I mean? It's like you said, it's not one area of our economy or our culture. It's like everything changed with that COVID.
Yes.
And these people should be held accountable. And I don't know, that's too good for him. Like you said, in my opinion, he needs to be a hard labor for the rest of his life or something. I don't know, but
yeah, he needs to be.
What they've done in this country, they have no conscience about it.
That's right, and he knows because he was in power. So he's the one who knows all the ins and outs of the NIH. I want full disclosure from him. I truly do, and to take his own words, right?
Yeah.
To take his own words that he used while he was doing these long recordings and being interviewed for a book being written about him. See, that when they take away all of his ideological BS and they threaten him with jail, he's going to sing like a little songbird, isn't he? But we need to know all of it.
He's into it up to his neck. He's what you say, balls deep. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Let's try to make him accountable for it. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you, Charlie. Take care of yourself. And you're right about church. If you're like my parish, OMC, Philadelphia Church, so everybody either did what Charlie's, fellow parishioners did. Either they're just trying to watch it on TV or they just got out of the habit or on Zoom streaming, or they went to different suburban parishes. And so now we try to rebuild that. It's a sin, as we say. Let's get to Ron really quick here. I do want to go through this timeline. Hey, Ron.
Hey, Dawn. How are you?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Hey, I just wanted to say, especially when you're talking about Rick and these people early on 4 years ago who had these weird spidey senses, as you call them.
Oh, Rich Zioli talking about it?
Yeah, Rich. That's the Holy Spirit, Dawn. That's the Holy Spirit working in us to show us the way and the truth.
Aw. I love that you said that, because I think a lot of people have, and I believe in the power of prayer. I absolutely do. So we can give, once again, Mama Zioli, not only did she solve the issue as an investigative reporter, solving the issue, remember, of the Chinese balloon above, but we can give credit where credit's due. Mama Zioli, all of her prayers for Rich Zioli and his wisdom, right, and seeing the truth. But I believe that, and we pray as a family. We gather around the dinner table in our kitchen every night, and we pray for the truth and transparency. We pray for our leaders. It's so true.
I also want to say, Dawn, why don't we coin it here right on WPHT? We start calling this guy Dr. Fascism, because that's who he is.
Yeah, it's so I know there are so many names for him, but what was done to us and the devastation and the damages, we need to just remember that and make all of these different individuals accountable. I do want to look at the timeline. Am I all right? Let me know if we have to take a quick break, but I just want to think of the timeline of Hunter Biden and the Trump administration. And when you think, I just want to go back and weave all of this together, okay? That we have Hunter Biden in 2018. That's when all of this began. But I'm just going to back up on my little timeline because I wrote this timeline last night. If we go back all the way back to 2014, so 10 years almost to the day, this is when Burisma Group, which was a private energy company in Ukraine, right? And Hunter Biden was joining the board. Joe Biden, vice president, overseeing the Ukraine policy for the administration of then President Barack Obama. So just remember this. 10 years ago, and almost to the day, like I say, Burisma's founder was the subject of a series of criminal investigations by Ukrainian authorities, and then that would be closed in 2017 after the company and founder made payments to authorities. But remember, Rich Ziola used to play this sound all the time. Do you remember this? When he started playing the audio of then Vice President Joe Biden bragging to people, saying, yeah, I told him, I'm not, no, you're not going to get your money. Because remember, Joe Biden oversaw the Ukraine policy for the administration, for the Obama administration. So Joe Biden was bragging about this, that they had to fire the prosecutor who was investigating this. Remember? And that way he wasn't going to give the money, the U.S. dollars, to Ukraine unless they did that. But it's a nothing burger. And Ziola on the Ziola Show, we were still on afternoons at this point. So now I want to take you to 2018. This is when Hunter Biden purchases the Colt Cobra 38 Special Revolver, and on that federal firearm purchase form responded no to a question if he was an unlawful user of a controlled substance, yada, yada. Fast forward now, because this is not just about Hunter Biden. I'm making you remember the history of Ukraine and weaving this into the Trump era, right? Now we have 2019. This is when U.S. Attorney for the District of Delaware, David Weiss, he starts investigating Hunter for that potential tax and other financial crimes, right? And he was appointed by Trump. Yes, I've said that. Now, the spring of 2019, Joe Biden announces for his bid for the Democrat Party for the presidential nomination. And now Hunter Biden's term on the Burisma board expires. This is the spring of 2019. Just think about this. Now, that summer, Trump has that famous conversation, the phone conversation that was a perfectly legal phone conversation with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And he says to him, you ought to look into that. While Joe Biden was in office, and he, remember that? But it was illegal. There was nothing illegal about that phone conversation. You may say, maybe he worded it badly. Maybe he shouldn't have brought that up. But there was nothing illegal about that phone conversation with Trump. That was the summer of 2019. So just look at what was going on and weave in Hunter, Ukraine, Trump, who was, as you know, was later impeached over that perfectly legal phone call, and now weave in everything you know and look back at it all in its entirety. And now think about everything that was up against Trump, these bureaucrats, not just elected officials, not just never Trumpers, but these bureaucrats so powerful in the shadows. I want you to absorb all of that. That's what struck me last night as I looked at all of it. It's important to zoom out and think about the history of it. I'm forced to take a really quick break here, but I do want to get your calls, your thoughts on this, and I do have to move on and give you a quick update locally. There's some breaking news that I want to get to and some new developments that I want to talk about as well. So we'll take a quick break. This is The Dawn Show, at Dawn Stensland on Twitter. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. But it's time also to think Piazza, because you're thinking about that summer road trip, are you not? Think about Piazza Premium Automobiles. They're going to help you pick out that luxury vehicle that you've been dreaming of. Piazza has thousands. Right now, they have thousands of these new and certified pre-owned vehicles. They're available right now. Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, Jaguar, Maserati, BMW, Porsche, and so much more. Just visit them. PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. You can stop by one of their many dealerships. There is power in the Piazza Auto Group as well. Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, PIAZZA, PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, this is Ray Didinger. I had the opportunity to open the new Joe Conklin show. It was sensational. It includes all the impressions, Iverson, Merrill, and Mike Barkley. He brought in this whole musical component with a full orchestra. It's really good. His daughter Casey's part of it. His brother's part of it. They can rock it, boy. So you got all the music, plus you got all the comedy. It's a great night.
That's Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at Wildwood Catholic High School on June 29th and the Ocean City Music Pier on July 13th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-403-5569 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-403-5569. That's 800-403-5569. What do you have to lose? Call 800-403-5569. Again, 800-403-5569.
I want to tell you about my friend, my dentist, and the master of dental implants, Dr. Mike Veneria at Veneria Dental. You know, we're approaching special occasion season, graduations, showers, weddings. If you're getting ready for a special event, don't forget your smile, because it's going to be in all the pictures. Get your smile special occasion ready by making an appointment with Dr. Mike today. I've been telling you about Dr. Mike for years. My entire family goes to Dr. Veneria because the level of care and commitment to dental excellence that Dr. Mike and his staff delivers to every patient is unmatched. He's been delivering results that surpass expectations, and that has made him a top dentist in New Jersey for 10 consecutive years. So if you've been on the fence about getting that dental procedure done, give Dr. Veneria a call. I promise you won't be disappointed. With 2 locations to serve you in Cinnaminson and Woodbury, schedule your free implant consultation today for your perfect smile. Call 856-786-2020 or visit veneriadental.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-688-6641. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, or back that won't go away? Check out QC Kinetics. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. QC Kinetics. 215-999-3000.
The odds of winning the lottery are 1 in 302 million. Here's a better bet. Turn to Work Money. We're a nonprofit here to help keep more money in your pocket. Start saving now at workmoney.org.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Hey, Clementon. Yeah! We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
By the way, the report has come out. It's pretty incredible. Trump and the RNC announcing the headline is a $141 million haul for this month so far. And that was, as you know, a huge part of it was the fundraising, the grassroots donations that came flooding in after the injustice of that wrongful, shameful verdict that came in, the verdict from the 34 counts guilty last Thursday. You know, today in Philadelphia, there's a launch of a huge initiative as Republicans ramp up all of these efforts to reach out to African-American voters. And President Joe Biden, as you know, is losing support with minorities. And Trump, I don't think any Republican has really done as well as Trump is doing in the polling, if you believe the polls. But last week I had interviewed Congressman Wesley Hunt, who's a Republican from Texas. He's really been spearheading this thing, this initiative, to try to have the conversation and recruit African-American voters, particularly black men, into the Republican Party's fold, the GOP, after former President Trump in 2020 showed, I mean, it's kind of surprised everybody with the strength that traditionally Democrats keep that constituency. And so Congressman Hunt was here. I know he's going to be there with a fellow congressman, Byron Donalds. So they'll be here. They're kicking this whole thing off. Huge initiative they're kicking off right here in Philadelphia this evening, Delaware Ave, and they're calling it, cigars and cognac, and having these conversations, inviting the community to come to Philadelphia and cities like Philadelphia. So it's Congress, cognac, and cigars. Cognac? Yeah. Congress, cognac, and cigars. And so this summer, they're having these conversations in these swing states and that they believe, like Pennsylvania, but in cities like Philadelphia. So the kickoff is today. And they're going to have, I know, NFL sideline reporter Michelle Tafoya. She's going to be there moderating. But they're also going to be in Atlanta, Detroit, Michigan, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Charlotte, North Carolina, and other key states and key cities. And you think about Trump and Republicans not taking anybody for granted. That's really what the message here is, that, hey, Democrats, they don't appreciate you. They've taken you for granted. I think the Fauci conversation fits into that because, of course, think about the African-American community and think about now the wisdom that African-Americans had here in Philadelphia, where they said, no, I don't trust that. And they were exactly right to question all of this. And so that was a focus of Democrats. What did they say? Oh, blacks are vaccine hesitant. No, we can look back and say African Americans were wise. Everybody should have listened to the African American community. It wasn't hesitancy, it was wisdom. I think all of this plays into exactly what these Congress members are doing, so good for them. So I have a ticket for tonight. I look forward to it. And we will, on the other side, we will, of course, review and recap all of today's latest developments. My goodness, so much flying by us, right? Never a slow news day. And that brings us to the great Dom Giordano with a great show teed up. Hey, Dom.
Hey, thanks, Dawn. Of course, Dr. Fauci. I'm thrilled, though, that Caitlin Clark is still a lot of talk. And there's another fact, not just race about her, we'll get into, that seems to have these women enraged.
Yes. Well, it's so true, Dom. I can't wait for your show. The Dom Show is right now.
Listen to Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sunday